Hello, and welcome to the next entry for the Wind Speaks audio blog. This morning I am recording this it's called Morel Lake, and it's pretty quiet in this moment. However, as I was starting to record, there was about 30 ducks that made their way over right in front of where I am, and I thought, wow, am I going to have an audience for this? It's rather funny. And they actually went away. So you might hear them in the background. And across the power lines, there's a shooting range. And so you might hear that in the background as well. And I guess that's real life, the sounds of things we can't avoid. However, overall, this is a quiet spot. And this morning I wanted to talk about this idea of the wounded healer. And I think the reason that this has come up, and it may have been someone that nudged me to do this recording, and it just manifested in this way. But in this life, there's people around that are referred to as the wounded healers. And I wanted to kind of take some time to unpack that. Because for myself, I don't consider myself directly to be a healer. And I know a lot of people that don't really like that word, and it comes with a lot of responsibility. And the truth is, I believe that I provide a space for people to do their healing. And ultimately, the healing occurs through them, and I just provide a space to support that. And therefore, I guess in an indirect way, I am healing, or providing the opportunity for healing. But maybe the thing that isn't understood is that, and I think the reason that this has come up for me is because currently I'm going through a bit of another hero's journey, another layer of work, and going through the metaphorical spin cycle, having to shake things off that are no longer serving me at this time, and that are ultimately keeping me from the next level of awakening, the next level of opening, the next level of depth. And it's funny because I guess it was a couple nights ago, I was part of a healing circle, a development circle, and man, was I in resistance to what was being shared with me. All the wisdom that I share with clients was being reflected back to me, and I was inside, internally kicking and screaming, because I didn't really want for that to be true. I wanted to be heard. I wanted to just be in my pain. I wanted to have a magic solution, and I think we all get there. And so back to the concept of the wounded healer. Here come all the ducks. This is awesome. Back to the concept of the wounded healer. Really, what that amounts to is that we are learning from our experiences. We are healing and growing through our experiences. And if I think about the things that I've been through that have taught me the things that I know and the wisdom that I share, it is not something that can come out of a textbook. There's something about experiencing it and living it that is able to deepen my connection to what that learning was about. And a lot of us have to go through life in this way and to learn in this way. Not everyone. I think there's a portion of us, and it certainly shows up in human design. We have to go through life experience in order to learn and grow. And the thing about this is that we live in a world that really honors school and education and the letters that come with education and the certificates that come from education. And I am not in a certificate program. It's so funny. And the byproduct of this, and this is what shows up for so many of us that fall into this category, is that we don't think that we have these gifts to share, or it's our right to share them. And what it is often referred to is this idea of the imposter syndrome. Who am I to share this? Who am I to teach this? Who am I to support others when I haven't gone to school? And it's interesting because that is actually one of the experiences that we learn and grow from. It's one of the experiences that we have to navigate and overcome in order to step into our gifts and in order to share our gifts wholeheartedly. And I hear it from so many practitioners that are doing this kind of work, that they doubt themselves. And yet there's nothing to doubt. We've lived it. We've pulled ourselves up out of the trenches and worked through these things on our own, often without help, because we didn't have access to the support that maybe was needed. So it's like there's a lot of like self-growth and self-managing and self-working through these obstacles that come into our path. And from that comes this deep, rich experience that translates into what I refer to as wisdom teachings, and a deep resonance of I've been where you've been. Maybe the circumstances are different. Maybe I haven't had the same situations come up as you, but the core essence of what I've been through translates into your experience. And that's not something you can get from a textbook. It's not something that you can get in school. Sure, there's certain things you can get in school, and I think, this is all about rites of passage and initiation, and of course, there's inherent teachings that come from going through some of these experiences. And I'm not trying to downplay people that do go to school, because I think a lot of those people actually do have these kinds of experiences. And this is just a different perspective. And so I think what I really wanted to say, and all of this is just a setup for this, is that even though I call myself a counselor and a coach and a wisdom guide and all the things, I'm just as human as everybody. I'm going through all the same struggles. I'm learning from those struggles, and I'm very human in that regard. And really, at times that can make those of us in this field, we can doubt ourselves. We're like, I'm not perfect. And I think that's the illusion that I want to break, is that there is no perfection other than the perfection of being able to see what's going on in our lives, notice the pattern, and take responsibility for it. And to make a choice of like, I don't want this to continue. I want to do something different. And at this point in my learning and my growth, at this phase of growth, I guess sometimes I think to myself, why am I still going through this? Why am I still having challenges show up? And it's not at all because I'm broken. It's not at all because there's something wrong with me. At the end of the day, it's because there's a next level of learning that I need to step into, that I need to experience. Excuse me. And that level of learning benefits those that I support and those that I work with. And there's a leveling up occurring in me. And I gotta say, I'm kicking and screaming in some ways as I face this next threshold because of what is happening and what is showing itself as I have to face this threshold. But I'm already feeling the gifts and the beauty that is coming from it, even though 2 days ago I was absolutely kicking my heels and dragging my feet and in resistance to everybody that was trying to love me and help me and support me and show me this path. And that's the beautiful thing. Everything is a reflection. Everything. And when we start to notice that reflection, we can start to take responsibility. And sometimes we hear these messages over and over and over again, and we know them. We've heard them. But to experience the depth of it and allow it to integrate and to allow it to be the experience in itself, that's where growth happens. And so I feel honored and grateful for these experiences, and I know that they translate into the support that I give others. So anyway, I think I'll leave it there before this gets super long. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope that there was something in this audio that benefited you and that you were able to relate to. And if that's the case, I always love to hear from people. Send me a line, reply to the newsletter that these get shared in, and let me know that you could relate or that it was helpful. All right, that's it. Bye for now.